Hey, welcome once more to the No One Warned You podcast, the podcast where we have no fluff conversations about the things you should know when you're starting a business or if you're growing your business. And I am Henry, your host. I've been a businessman and entrepreneur for over 17 years now in various industries. And today, here with me, I have Brett Schklar. In at AI First Leadership. Brent, thank you so much for being here. Such an honor.
Yeah, Henry, thanks for having me and looking forward to having some conversation here with you today.
Beautiful. I'm quite sure you're going to help our watchers and listeners here with your expertise for sure. And Brent, share us a bit of who you are and how did you end up where you are now in AI First Leadership?
Yeah, I guess I'll start out to say that I've always been a bit of a madman wannabe, right? So, 1960s
I
Madison
love it.
Avenue. I was born in the wrong era, but since we are in this era, I've done a ton of marketing where I worked as a senior marketing executive for a lot of mid-size and large B2B software companies, B2B tech. And a lot of that over the years has definitely evolved into SaaS. And so after carrying the leadership role for many companies over many years, I decided to start my own agency many moons ago. It was called Market Creation Group. And I grew that over a 13-year period. We had over 230 clients. 56 of them were successfully sold or had exited to larger companies or private equity. And in 2019, I sold that business. So that's really a quick background. And then after taking a little bit of time off in 2019, I decided to start another sort of more modern version of an agency, and it's a fractional CMO or fractional Chief Marketing Officer business. And that, which I started around 2021, I think, really started to take off because the demand for fractional CMO is there. And kind of found this really nice groove where I was finding great marketers, I was finding great companies, and I was connecting those dots and bringing people together. And so, doing all of that was a lot of fun. But I will say that as that business started to grow and scale, and I might be getting ahead of things here, but as that started to grow and scale, and generative AI came onto the scene, I think I was one of the early CEOs and business leaders who said, "I'm going to use the daylights out of this innovation and really deploy it all throughout my company so that I can accomplish all of the things that I wanted to accomplish." So that's me. I live in Denver, Colorado. I spend a lot of time on stage these days talking about how I deployed AI within my company, helping other CEOs and business leaders figure that out. So I spend a lot of time in airports. I spend a lot of time in aluminum, canisters called airplanes, and I have a lot of fun traveling and getting on stage and sharing the ideas and the things I learned with others.
Brett, sounds very exciting and just how your journey brought to where you are now and brought it to the thing of the moment, as per se, right?
Yep, yep, absolutely.
That's amazing. And as we were talking previously to recording, you mentioned you can run around 56 clients with zero employees, Brett. And I'm wondering, how is that possible?
Yeah, eh, part of this goes back to running my original agency, Market Creation Group. First of all, it was a delight. It was a passion of mine, and it was definitely something that I put my soul into, and my soul, I fed my soul with that business. Having said that, there's challenges in running an agency. You've got a lot of employee headcount. You've got a lot of variability in the income from clients, especially if you sort of run it in a very scrappy way like I did. And when I started this new business, I had decided, I had asked myself, how can I do some of the innovative things, the marketing strategy, the rebrands, the things like that, but do it as a fractional CMO instead of doing it as a full on agency, especially because AI is here. It can do a lot of that work that it needed a team of people to do before. And how can I, the other question was, how can I do this in a way that supports my lifestyle? Because at the end of the day, I wanted this one to be more about me. And that's a very selfish approach. And I think that every entrepreneur needs to look at this from a selfish approach. And so, again, with AI coming onto the scene, I asked myself, do I really need a team of employees to accomplish the goals and the revenue targets and the growth goals that we had? And while I've got a team of 30 fractional CMOs and I've got some contract people that help out, I have no actual, full-time employee payroll. Everyone's on contract. Everybody is month to month. I have the flexibility to expand or contract without feeling a burden to cover other people's payrolls in sacrifice of my own. And so I built Grow Powered, the fractional CMO business. We've got over 50 clients, I think somewhere around 56 right now. We've got 30 fractional CMOs. And, while this is a big team of people and a lot of people, none of them are actual employees. So I feel like I have more freedom. I feel like I have more autonomy. I feel like I can work from wherever and not have to worry about, what am I doing to motivate my team and my staff. Um, it's a much more simple business for me.
And I'm assuming here that because they are not your employees, they have this sense that they gotta perform because it's just so much easier for you to just close the contract or finish it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a business relationship with all the people that are supporting our clients. And what I mean by that is it takes a certain level of professionals. We're not working with people that are sort of new to industry or new to marketing or new to AI even. We're dealing with people who have been CMOs who want the same freedom and flexibility that I want. I just happen to be a little bit better at the business development and the connecting of humans to each other to make that possible. And so it does take a certain caliber of people to work with, but I think of them as my business partners, not as my staff. And by doing that, I feel like I am. Let me just go back to the days of the agency. We had a lot of fun, and we serviced clients in great ways. But sometimes it felt like I was, being the parent, and there was a lot of, I wouldn't say children, but there was definitely a lot of behavior and nuances and personalities that really required a lot of effort on my part to lead that team. And now, where I think of people as business partners, and I think about how we're doing everything using the AI first approach, it's a very different model. And thinking about all of the resources to help us deliver solutions and thinking about them as partners, the conversations are very different. The level of respect is very different. And I don't know if it's a good fit for a lot of people, but for me, this is exactly, this is my jam. This is my vibe. This is what I really enjoy doing, which is collaborating with people that I truly respect as much as I believe that they respect me. And we're all having a lot of fun by having that flexibility and the freedom that we've always wanted.
Brett, I'm listening to you here, and I'm thinking like, wow, he's got the dream life, and of course, there are probably hardships like anyone else, but definitely your mindset to your to the approach you use for this business now, it's pretty impressive, and I'm curious to know what is it that your AI agents actually do day to day.
We have a sales agent and it does a lot of prospecting. We have a marketing agent that tells us how we're communicating about our brand compared to competitors. And the fractional CMO space in the last, I would say, since the pandemic has really heated up. Right. So if you did a search for a fractional CMO in 2019, when I started the idea of this business, you would probably have found 500 people at most on LinkedIn that had that type of title. Now it's over 10,000 easily,
Wow.
and I haven't looked in a year. It's probably could be even 20,000 people when you search on LinkedIn. But the marketing agency, the marketing agent, really helps out. We have a revenue agent that makes sure that we're, handling our collections. So it really is a large set of agents that are helping us out. I also have an internal communications agent, right? So, making sure that I am proactively communicating, where we are going, what we are doing, what the challenges we're having as a business, so everybody feels like they are a part of this momentum, even if we're not, all a part of a company from an employee or a W-2 perspective. We're all 1099s if in the U.S. tax sort of world. And so um, I still want everybody to feel very connected to our mission, to our vision, and to the values. And so there is an agent that reminds me and helps me be a better communicator there. There's also an agent that helps evaluate the performance of each client and does the client reviews on a regular basis. And there's an agent that does the performance recommendations for each of the fractional CMOs that are part of the company. So we have a lot of agents. We have a lot of agentic activity in the background. And then we use a lot of, we use all of the AI tools all throughout our business. And every one of our fractional CMOs, I believe, delivers a ton more value to our clients because we're a very AI first and very AI forward group of fractional of CMOs who happen to be fractional. And that leads to clients that realizing that they're getting more value for their buck because we're not cheap. But they're getting a lot more value because we're able to leverage AI within our delivery of our work.
That's amazing, and I'm quite sure that for the listeners and watchers here, everyone watching here, you're giving some ideas, and I can see even some smoke just coming off their heads here. With oh no, I'm getting behind. I gotta speed up things. Uh, and Brett, I'm thinking here, what is it human? What is it fractional? What is it AI in your business? You mentioned the AI piece, but where is the balance or where each part comes in play?
Yeah. AI should never be involved in the relationship with a client. Full stop. Never be involved in the relationship of a client. That's number one. Number two is AI should never answer questions or provide insights or solve problems without human insight. And that's insanely important, right? It prevents the AI slop. It prevents the hallucinations. It prevents AI recommending things that could be off strategy. So that's insanely important. Now, on the fractional side, what we have is a little bit of an advantage because as we're preparing things for our clients, as we're building a strategy, as we're rolling out our rolling 90-day plans, which is what makes us, I think, very effective, we have other team members that will review these plans with others. So that kind of gets to, there's a human aspect, there's an AI aspect, but then there's a third aspect that you mentioned, which is fractional. We have a team of fractionals that bounce ideas off of each other and give each other the customer test before we put something in front of a customer when it comes to our rolling 90-day plans. And so that's really that's a combination of the human factor and the fractional factor. Um, what I've seen also on that fractional factor is that most of our companies that we work with are mid-size, say mid-market, either well-funded VC or private equity,
Hmm.
and they're finding that a fractional CMO brings a lot more horsepower, especially because we're very AI forward and requires less interaction and less babysitting and less go to market, jargon than the full-time CMOs. And so we're finding that because we're AI forward, because we have resources and because we're able to think more strategically, we're a better fit for many CEOs in the mid-market and the PE backed companies than we could have imagined.
Brett, that's pretty impressive the way you balanced everything out. And I love the idea of the collaboration that you brought within this group of CMOs, and how they can help and bounce on one another. Great idea. And as a last question, as we wrap up this first episode. And remember, we're here for 3 episodes. This is just the first one, so stay with us for the next ones because there's a lot of great things still coming. And for a small business owner drowning in work, what is it the first role they could replace with AI or a fractional?
um, Boy, that's a great question as far as what's the first role that they could replace. I really don't think of it as replacing, to be honest. And you know, we hear that, and it sounds like a good sound bite that makes us all happy and friendly and whatever else. But I promise you, I've seen companies trying to replace motions or functions or workflows with AI completely instead of humans, and it craps out fast. Instead, I prefer, and I hope we get to talk about this in some of our other episodes. But I prefer to think of it as, you have this unlimited source of intelligence, and so accuracy can go way up. You have this unlimited resource of project management, which means that you can really be much more consistent and predictable in your deliverables. And you have this unlimited resource of competitive thought process so that we can help clients and with really figuring out where these things go. So for small business, I think the replacement is speed, because you can respond faster to your clients by using AI, so you're replacing your competitors potentially. And I think it is in bringing that intelligence, which is now virtually unlimited, and intelligence is paid for by the token. No longer Harvard MBAs are needed. You can get it at the rate of 1 cent per token or 1.15 cents per token. Um, and then the project management or the consistency or the assurance that you're going to deliver what you say you're going to deliver really increases significantly.
Brad, I love your insights, and I'm just gonna get this as a hook. So a cliffhanger right there, because what we're gonna talk about in the next episode definitely has to do with how to balance out AI, human interaction, how that's supposed to happen. Can we replace it? Can we not? You're saying we can't or we shouldn't. Anyway, we're still gonna go further into that. Thanks so much for being here, Brad. Such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Henry. Really appreciate being here.
And for you watching or listening, great to have you as well. See you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.